Hi guys, my name is Christine, and today I'm talking about how to use your subconscious mind to manifest anything, okay? So the first thing that I want to discuss is how important habits are, right? So if you really want to instill something into your subconscious mind so that you can manifest whatever it is that you are hoping to manifest, then habits play a huge role in that. Right, and the reason why habits play a huge role in that is because it's your habits ultimately that is going to change your life, that is going to help you manifest the life that you are hoping to manifest, okay? So the cool thing about habits is the more times you perform a habit, the more it gets sort of like instilled into you, the more you reinforce that habit, basically. But obviously, this can work for good and bad things, right? You can have a bad habit, and each time you perform a bad habit, that can also reinforce it, right? But it also works for good habits. So each time you exercise, you are reinforcing the habit of exercise. Each time you work on your business or whatever it is that you're trying to achieve in your life, each time you do something, that is also being reinforced as well. So the idea then is to make sure that you reinforce the good habits and you start to cancel out the other habits, right? And sometimes the best way that you can do that to reinforce these new habits and to get rid of the old ones. So let's say you have a habit that you don't like that you want to get rid of. The best thing that you can do is to actually replace it with a new habit, right? Because if you have an old habit that you're not happy with, once you stop doing that habit, right, there's going to be a vacuum, right? Because there's going to be space where you used to do that habit and now you have got rid of that habit. So what do? And a lot of people go back to the old habit because they said, okay, I'm going to stop doing this. But then they go back to doing it because they didn't actually replace it with something new and different that is actually good for them. So that's something there that can help you with getting rid of old habits. You need something to replace that habit with. You can't just let there be a vacuum of that time where you just sort of sit around thinking, what do I do now? Because this is the time I would usually do that thing that I don't want to do. Okay. So another thing that can help is affirmations. So I recently made a video on how to actually use affirmations correctly and properly so that you can manifest things faster with those affirmations. So I highly recommend that you go and watch that video because that will give you the best ideas on how to actually use affirmations properly. Now, of course, it's stuff that's worked for me. Like, I don't know 100% if they are the best way that they work, but from what I've learned from people like Tony Robbins, that is the best method that I've personally seen and that has worked for me, right? You got to remember all these things I talk about are things that have worked for me. If you don't like these methods, then by all means go and find someone else who teaches a method that you prefer, that works for you, okay? So affirmations are another way that you can sort of use your subconscious mind to install new ways of manifesting things that you want, okay? So another thing that has been really, really powerful for me when it comes to manifesting things that I want, even when it comes to like manifesting new behaviors in myself that I wanted to change, and that is repetition, right? Repetition is so important because that, again, it's another way of reinforcing what you want in your life. It's another way of making your brain work differently if you keep on repeating something, right? So another way that you can repeat something, it doesn't have to be a habit. Obviously, repeating a habit reinforces a habit, but also things like if you want a certain belief about yourself, sometimes if you just repeat that belief, like writing it down, or perhaps you get like some audio equipment and you talk into this audio equipment, what it is that you want or this new belief that you want about yourself, and then you listen back to it. That's also repetition. So one of the things that really helped me, and this was something that I would do passively, it wasn't even something that I would do with the intent of actually really, really trying to change things in my life or to really try and manifest things in my life. And that is, I used to listen to and watch a lot of Dr. Wayne Dyer. And sometimes I would watch one of his lectures over and over and over again. And by doing that, I actually started to have a more positive outlook on life, more of the sort of outlook that Dr. Wayne Dyer has on life and spirituality and things like that. And that was all just from just passively listening to or watching one of his lectures or one of his audiobooks. Just while I was doing regular things like cooking dinner or when I'm just out and about and I'm listening through my earphones, things like that. And one of the thing that I say always about Dr. Wayne Dyer is that he's the greatest teacher in my life, because I used to be someone who had a very negative outlook. Sometimes I still do sometimes. But he really changed my outlook from a negative one to a positive one. So now predominantly my thoughts are positive most of the time, right? Because you're always going to have a few sort of negative thoughts or intrusive thoughts that kind of trickle in now and again. But I went from someone who was totally negative to someone that is now predominantly positive, shall we say. And that was all just from listening to him all the time. From, as any moment I had, I would listen to him, right? And this is one of the things that really helped me when I was in my early 20s, and because I'm 30 now. And what I would do is, I used to be not addicted to video games, but I would play video games a lot, right? So I play video games, and when I was playing video games, I would turn down the volume of the game music or the game sounds on the game that I was playing, and I would just listen to Dr. Wayne Dyer. And by doing that, as well as doing other things like when I cook dinner, because I sometimes still listen to Dr. Wayne Dyer when I'm, doing things like that, like cooking, or when I'm exercising or something like that. So I just listened to him a lot, and it completely changed my outlook on life and my positivity. It made me more spiritual, made me more in tune with my own personal, I guess you could say, religion. So yeah, it really put me in tune with that. And that was just from doing something passively, and it completely changed my whole subconscious mind. Because now, when I have issues or when there are things that are happening, I tend to now look on the positive, and I completely, and the repetition of listening to Dr. Wayne Dyer, and that completely made me have a more positive outlook on my life. And it made my negative thoughts not be the first thoughts that bubble up, usually, right? Again, sometimes they still trickle in, but it was I did a completely 180 when it comes to positivity, having a better outlook on life and things like that, okay? So repetition, like reading something over and over again, writing down something over and over again, listening to something over and over again, over a long period of time, will eventually change your subconscious mind and make you believe the thing that you are writing down, or you're listening to, or you're watching. Because, but one of the main reasons why that works for me is that is just my learning style in general. Like, I'm not one of these people that can just read something, just read a few notes and be able to remember that, right? I'm rubbish with dates, things like that. Anything to do with like history, I'm really rubbish with, because if I really wanted to learn that kind of thing, I would need to go over it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And personally, that's something that I don't mind to do, because I know some people, they read a book and they're like, yeah, I've already read that book, I don't need to read it again. But what I find is when I keep on reading the same book over and over again, I start to see it differently. I find things that I didn't figure out before. So some people don't really like that. They don't really like repeating things. But that's just a personal method that has really worked for me. And it's helped me manifest a better personality, a better outlook on life, manifest actual things in my life that I've wanted, and things like that. Okay. So another thing that will help is if you raise your vibration. Okay. So there's a scale in Power versus Force, the Hawkins scale. And one of the tipping points from, going from a low vibration to a higher vibration is courage. Like, that's the turning point. So courage is the best place for you to actually be, especially if you've had like a low sort of vibration, you feel low, for example. You don't feel good about yourself most of the time. That's not, if you're feeling that way, you're not going to be able to allow the things that you want to manifest in, right? Because you don't need to feel good in order to manifest the things that you really want, okay? You need to be optimistic, because if you're in a low vibration, it's very unlikely that you're going to manifest things that you want. You're probably just going to keep on manifesting things that you don't want. So the thing that you do is you start with courage, right? And, there's a quote that I use all the time by Dale Carnegie, and it's one of my favorite quotes of all time. And it really helps me on those days where I'm like, I kind of just want to be lazy today. I don't want to do anything today. But I know if I am lazy, and I don't do the things that I need to do, it's going to make me feel bad. So this is the quote that kind of makes me change my mind about that sort of thing. And it helps motivate me and helps me step into courage, right? Because those lower vibrations are not really going to help you manifest anything. It's the higher vibrations. So this is what Dale Carnegie had to say about courage, right? Inaction breeds doubt and fear. Action breeds confidence and courage. If you want to conquer fear, do not sit at home and think about it. Go out and get busy. So if you want to start raising your vibration and you're on one of these sort of like lower levels of the Hawkins scale, and you want to start manifesting things more into your life, then you need to step into courage. And the way that you step into courage is by taking action on things that are important to you, that are helping you progress in life. So that's something that's really, really going to help you. Remember that quote, that taking action breeds confidence and courage, or courage and confidence, right? It doesn't matter, right? All that's important is that you take action on things that are important to you, so you feel like you're progressing. Because if you feel like you're progressing, like you're actually moving from where you are now to where you want to be, and you can see you've got a to-do list and you tick all the things off, you feel good when you do those sorts of things because you feel like you're making progress. And if you feel like you're making progress and you're taking action, you're going to feel good about yourself. Okay, so be courageous, take some action today towards your goals, because that's going to make you feel really good. It's going to make you feel awesome. Okay, so that's my advice on how you can use your subconscious mind to attract anything. One of those key things in there for me personally is repetition, going over things over and over and over again until it becomes instinctual, and also taking courage and taking action. So thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to get in touch with me personally, then please go to www.christineloveridge.com for my shop and my coaching. So thank you so much for watching, and I shall talk to you again very, very soon. Goodbye.